Hello everyone, how you doing? In this video I'm going to show you how you can paint this landscape here in Unreal, but using maps that we're going to create in Gaea so we can place the textures in the correct way but still use the layer system in Unreal. So this is not an auto material, this is the textures are placed based on maps that we're going to create in Gaea. So by doing like this, you can still use the layer system so you can create effects like footstep sounds because you can know in what textures your character is stepping in. So you can do this way. So this is what I'm going to show you in this video. But before this, if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe because that helps me a lot. So let's start. Okay, so as you can see, I'm here in Gaea and I already created a terrain here using these nodes. So if you want to copy this terrain, you can use the same nodes here, because in this video I will not show how you can create the shape of the terrain like the height map. I will only show how you can create the texture maps on Gaea and then use those texture maps on Unreal so you can create the textures there. So let's try to do this. The first thing that I want to do here is organize a little bit because I don't want to put the nodes for the texturing on the same graph here because this will become a mess if I do this. So let's organize this into different graphs. So to do this, here in the main graph, in this name here, you can right click and you can rename this. So let me rename to height map because essentially this is the height map of the terrain. Let me set a color here as well, so you can right click and set a color. Let me set this one. And for the maps, for the texture maps, let's create a new graph for this. So you can click on this plus icon here to add a new graph. So let's do this and let's rename this to maps and create graph. There we go. So here is the graph for the maps. Here is where we will define the maps for the texturing, and later we will create a new graph for adding the colors. To create maps for the texturing, we basically need the height map information. So let's go here to the height map graph where we have all the nodes here for the landscape, and here in the final one, this is basically the output that we want. This is basically the height map. So now we need to get this information from here to the maps graph. To do this, here in Gaea we have portals. So portals is basically a way that you can transport data from one place to another without having to connect any line directly. So let's create a portal for this one. To do this, I will actually first create a node here in the last one. In the last node here, let's create another one. From here, let's just drag and type FX and let's create an FX node. There we go. This is basically an empty node. As you can see here in properties, we only have the post processing here, so we don't have any properties. This is an empty node. I'm just adding this so I can rename or delete if I want without having to delete the actual nodes that are shaping the terrain. So here, let's right click on this FX node and let's rename this to height map as well, because essentially this is the height map. And now we just need to create a portal on this. So from the output here, we just need to drag, and from the options, just click on make portal. There we go. Now we have this output here, and this is a portal with the name height map. So when we from here we can get this information and using the same name. So let's now create the maps. Now that we created the portal, we can use this portal here in the maps graph. So to do this, let's first add an FX node. So in the maps graph, right click and type FX. There we go. Now we have this node, and again, this is just an empty node that we can use to get or pass informations here. And in the input here, we can just drag, and we have the portals option with the height map. So let's just select this, and there we go. Now we have the height map as an input of this node, and of course the height map is the output of everything here. So we are basically getting the height map information on this graph without having to connect anything. So there we go. Now we can use this information to create the maps that we need. So here in the toolbox, let's scroll a little bit down here until we find the data category. There we go. Now we have all these nodes here that we can use to create the maps. So let's first start with a flow node here. So let's just drag this flow on the graph, and this needs an input, basically the height map as an input. So from this, let's just connect in the input here, and there we go. As you can see, now we have this black and white mask, where white is where the flow is and black is where we don't have any flow. So this is basically the map that we need to tell Unreal where we want to put the textures on the landscape. So this is basically it for the flow map. So here in the output of the flow, we have the output of everything, but we have the primary as well, the secondary and the tertiary here, but I will only use the output option for this one. So I will basically connect this output on an FX node so we can rename and have a better control on this. So let's right click and type FX. There we go. Let's connect the output of this in the input of the FX. And now let's right click and rename this FX node to flow map. There we go. So now when we export this map here, this will be exported as flow map, and that's what we want. There we go. This is it for the flow map. Let's add another map now. Let's create another map. Okay, so now that we created this flow map, of course, if you want, you can select this flow node here and you can change the properties here to fit what we want, but for me this is good, so I will stick with this. Let's create another map now. So here let's create a slope mask. So here let's drag from the data category, let's drag this slope node here. There we go. And this needs again the height map information. So let's right click and type FX to add an FX node. And here in the input, let's drag and select the portals, the height map one. So let's just select this, and again this is just the output of all this. So let's just connect this in the slope node, and there we go. As you can see, now we have this mask where white is basically where is more flat, and where is more sloped we have black. But in Unreal we need the inverse of this. I want white where we want the slope, and black where we don't want the slope. Because basically I want to tell Unreal where I want the slope texture. So basically this needs to be white. So to do this, we basically need to invert this slope mask. So from the output of the slope, let's drag and type invert. And there we go. Now we have white where we want the slope textures to be, basically the cliff textures, right? And black where we don't want the textures to be. So this is basically it. So again, if you want, you can select the slope mask here, and you can change the values here. Basically the minimum, you just you can select whatever values you want here for the max. And there we go. If you go to invert, we have basically this. So this is pretty much. So let me just drag a little bit the minimum here. And there we go. I think this is cool. So this is basically the slope mask. So from this invert, let's drag and type FX again. So we can rename this. So let's select this and right click, go to rename, and let's name this slope map. There we go. And this is basically it for the slope mask. So let's create now the final map, and this will be the snow map. So to create the snow, as you can see here in the data, we don't have a snow node here, but we have snowfall on the snow category. So basically you can use another nodes that is not from the data category to create the maps. Basically you can use any node that you want. So let's get the snowfall here. There we go. And these nodes actually needs the height map as well. So let's right click and type FX to add the FX node here, and in the output let's get the height map portal. So there we go. Now we can just connect this on the input of the snowfall, and there we go. Now we have snow on the landscape. But as you can see, this has colors, and I don't want colors, I want a black and white mask. So to do this, here in the snowfall we have some outputs here, and the output that we want is the snow output, so this second one here. So from this, if we drag and type FX to add this to an FX node, there we go. We have a black and white texture, so this is basically the map that we want. So white is where we want to put the snow texture, and black is where we don't want to put the snow texture. So if you want the snow to be in the whole landscape, this is all that you need to do. Of course, if you select the snowfall, you can change a little bit of the properties here to get what you want, but for me this is okay. But as you can see, we have snow on the whole landscape, and I don't want that. I want snow only in the upper parts of the landscape, so the highest part here. To do this, here in the snowfall we have the mask option. So we need to use this mask to put snow only in the highest part of the landscape. So to do this, let's create this mask. So for the mask, let's in the data category, let's get the height node. And there we go. This is basically the height, but for this we need again the height map information. So let's right click and type FX, and let's add here the height map portal. There we go. And let's add this on the height input here. And this is basically the input. So now if we select this, we can control the minimum and maximum here. So if I put this a little bit up, as you can see, we are masking this. So basically white is where we're gonna put this snow map, and black is where we, of course, we don't want to put the snow. So you can control from the minimum here. So let me put maybe only in this part here of the landscape. So now if I connected this on the mask option of this snowfall, as you can see, we only have snow on these parts. There we go. This is basically what we want. I'm just doing this to show you how you can create this. Of course, you can change the parameters as you wish, but for me this is okay for now. So let's just go on this final effects here where we have the masking, as you can see. So we have white for the snow and black where we don't want the snow. So now we can just select this and let's rename to be the snow map. And there we go. This is basically it. We created this 3 maps. So we have a flow map, this one, we have a slope mask, this one, and we have a snow mask, this one. So now we just need to export this and use in Unreal. So let's do this. But before export and use the textures in Unreal, here in Gaea we have options to add colors on the landscape, so we can have an idea on how this will look like when we add the final textures. So to do this, let's create a new graph. So let's click on this plus icon here, and let me type colors for this one. There we go. Let me set just colors for this graph. There we go. And to add the maps, we basically need to add the colors, we basically need the maps that we created here. So we need to use this on this colors graph. So to do this, as I mentioned before, we just need to create portals. So for each one of these maps, let's create portals. So from the output of these effects, let's create a portal. So let's just drag and click on make portal for each one of these. There we go. Now we have portals for the flow map, for the slope map, and for the snow map. So now we just need to go to colors here and start adding colors. So To add colors, we first need the height map portal, so we need the height map information. So let's right click and type FX. There we go. And for the input, let's select the height map portal. There we go. And to add the colors, we need a set map node. So let's right click and type set maps. There we go. And this is basically the node that we can select the colors to add on the landscape. So let's connect the height map as an input of this. And there we go. As you can see, we already have colors for this. So here if you select the set maps, we have a library here, so we can select from different categories here. So for this, let me select green. And there we go. Now we can just select a color here. So let me just select one. Maybe this one. So I think this is good for this. And again, this is not the final colors. This is just for us to have an idea on how the map is going to look like when we add the final textures. So this is basically it for this first layer. So let's add now the flow map. So to do this, we need a combine node because we need to combine all this into one, of course. So let's right click and type combine. There we go. And for the first input, let's just drag this one. There we go. And for the second input here, we just need another set of these nodes here. So let's right click and type set maps again. There we go. And we need to get again these FX for the height map. So let's type FX. And for the input, let's select the height map input. And let's connect this on the set map node. And there we go. This is basically the second input. But as you can see, we need to put these second maps here, these second colors, only in these white areas of this flow map. So how to do this? Here in the colors, here in the combine node, we have a mask node. So we just need to basically put this mask here on this mask option. So to do this, let's right click and type FX. There we go. And for the input, let's now select the flow map portal. And there we go. Now if I connect this on the mask here, now we just need to go to this combine node, just select here, and in the method, let's change from blend to add because we are adding this on top. And as you can see, we already have different colors here. But for the combine, we need to change the ratio here to 100%. So let's just select 100% here. And there we go. As you can see, now we have these flows with different colors. So we can select this set map and we can change to anything that we want. So let's just select send here. And let's put maybe this one. And if I go to the combine here, there we go. As you can see, now we have sand only in the flows of this landscape. And this is basically how we can add colors to this one. So let's just continue now and let's add the slope colors. So let's do this. Now let's add the slope colors. So to do this, let's again type combine here to add one more combine, not this one, the combine one. There we go. And for the first input is basically this one. And for the second one, let's create another set map node. So there we go. Let's add the height map for this. So let's type FX. And for the input here, let's select the height map portal. There we go. Let's connect here. And let's connect the set map on the second input here. And there we go. And for the mask, we need the slope mask here. So let's go here and type FX. And for the input, let's select the slope map portal. So basically this one. So let's connect this on the mask here. And there we go. As you can see, now on these parts that we have slope, we are using this texture. And where we don't have this, we are using the first one. So let's just change this from blend to add, and let's type 100% ratio here. There we go. As you can see, now we have these slope colors on the parts that we have slope. So now we only need to add this node. So to do this, let's again add a new combine node. There we go. Let's connect this on the first input, and the second input, let's again connect a set map node. So let's just select this. Let's get the height map again with an effect with a height map node. There we go. Let's connect this on the second input here. And for the mask, we only need to get this node map. So let's right click and type effects. And for the input, let's select the snow map map. So let's just connect this on the mask here. In the combine, let's change it to add and 100% ratio here. And now we just need to select a color for this. So for this, let's go to colorful here maybe. Actually, let's go to sand. This looks more like snow, I think. So let's just select maybe this one. And now if we go here, as you can see, we have snow on these parts where we have this snow map, as you can see. So this is basically it. This is basically how you can add colors to your landscapes using maps on Gaea. But again, this is not the colors that we're gonna put in the final landscape in Unreal. This is not textures. This is only for us to have an idea on how the maps looks like, so we can make changes if we want. But this is basically it. So now let's export the maps and actually use in Unreal to place the textures. So let's do this. Okay, so now let's export the maps. So to do this, let's go to build here, and as you can see, now we don't have any node marked for export. So let's mark some nodes so we can export them. So first, of course, we need the height map so we can create the landscape in Unreal. So to do this, let's go to height map here. And here in this final node, in this effects node, let's right click and mark for export. Now we have this yellow dot here. That means that this node is marked for export. So, okay, we have the height map here, as you can see. Let's do the same for the maps now. So we needed flow map. So let's right click on this node and mark for export. We needed the slope map as well. So let's do the same. And let's do the same for the snow as well. So let's mark for export. And of course, now we have these 4 maps here in the build tab here. So now we need to export this in PNG. So just change all this, the type here to PNG. And there we go, we have this. So here in the definition, in the method, will be normal build, but the resolution will change this to 1K because in the free version of Gaea we can export only up to 1K. So here in the resolution, let's change this. Let's scroll down until we find the Unreal category here, and let's select the 1K. So this one. There we go. The options here in the color space will be sRGB, but the range, let's change this from proportional to normalized. And there we go. Now we can build this, but first let's change the destination here. So let's just select a new folder here. So let me just select this folder. There we go. Just select a folder so you can export the maps. And now let's just click on start build. Let's click on this here in the previous build. To build the cache, let's click on no. And there we go, the build will start, and after some time it will be completed. So let's just wait a little bit. And there we go, now the build is completed and we have all the maps that we want. So as you can see, we have the height map, we have the flow map. Let me open so you can see. There we go. We have the height map here. We have the flow map. We have the slope map, and we have the snow map. So now we just need to use this in Unreal. So let's do this. Okay, so now I'm in Unreal, so let's start creating the landscape. So first, let me create a new map here. So let's go to File, New Level, and let's create a basic one. Just hit Create. And here, let's delete this floor. We don't need this. And now let's save the map. So let me save on maps here, and let me type landscape. There we go. So we have this map. Now let's create the landscape. So let's go here to the selection mode and let's change to landscape. And here we just need to change this to import from file. And here in the height map file, let's select that one that we exported from Gaea. So let's navigate to the folder here and let's select the height map. Let's open, and there we go. Now we have the height map here. But we need to correct the scale. So for the X and Y here, we need to get this 100 and we need to multiply this by 5000 and we need to divide this by the resolution of the height map. So in this case 1009. So let's type 1009 here. There we go. Let's hit enter, and this should update for the X and Y. And there we go. Now we have the correct scale for importing a height map from Gaea. Now we can just hit import here. Let's wait a bit. And there we go. Now, as you can see, we have the same landscape that we had in Gaea. Let me just adjust here the exponential height fog. So let me go to selection here. Let's go back to selection. Let's select the exponential height fog, and I want to decrease this a little bit. There we go. And in here we have the same map that we have in Gaea. So let's start importing the maps. Okay, so I'm going a little bit fast on this because I already created a video showing you how you can create and import a landscape from Gaea to Unreal. So if you want more details on how I'm doing this and why I'm doing like this, you can just watch that video. But here I will only show you how you can use that maps that we created in Gaea to place the textures. So here let me show you that I already have a material for the landscape. So let me open this. And as you can see, this is really simple. I just have a landscape layer blend here, and I have different textures going into different layers, and these textures are basically material functions. So let me open one so you can see. And there we go. This is basically the same setup that we did in the auto material video that I did. So here we basically have near textures with different tile size here, and far textures, of course, with different tile size as well. And I have distance blends here, and I'm basically blending using a lerp node between the near and the far, using the distance blend as an alpha, and I'm just connecting this into a set material attribute. So this is basically the material function. I'm doing this for each one of these and connecting the results on a different layer in the landscape layer blend. So this is basically the material that we're gonna use for this. So first, let's just select the landscape and let's connect the material instance on the landscape material. And there we go. Now it's all black. That is because we need to create a layer info for each one of the layers. So to do this, just select the landscape and go to landscape option here in the landscape mode, in the selection mode actually. And here in the paint, we have all the layers that we created, and we can create layer info by hitting this plus icon. So just click on this and click on weight blended layer. Let's just save, and let's do the same for the other ones here as well. So let's do for the sand and for the snow. And there you go. So now the landscape is all in the grass texture. That is because we created this layer info first. So if you want to add other layer here in the whole landscape, you can just right click on the layer and select fill layer. And there we go. That is how you can fill the whole landscape with one layer. But let's change back to the grass here. Okay, so now we just need to set this layer into the maps that we created. So to do this is really simple. We just need to click on the layer that we want. So the cliff, let's do the cliff first. So just click and go to import from export to file. So just hit on this, and this takes us to the manage tab in the import section here. And here we can expand these layers here, and we have the different layers that we want. So we can just select the cliff, and for the cliff we can select a height map file. So if we click on these dots here, we can select a file for this, and for the cliffs we want the slope map that we created. So just select this and hit open. And now we have this here. We can just click on import now. If we click on import, there we go. Unreal will put this texture on the slope mask. So if I open this slope mask here, so let me just open so you can see. So this is the slope mask that we created in Gaea. So Unreal will put the textures on the white areas of this map. So basically these portions here of the landscape. And now we can just do the same for the other ones as well. And we can do multiple ones. So let me just deselect the cliff because we already did for that one. Let's do for the sand and for the snow. So we can do both here. Just click on this dot for each one and select the correct map. So for the sand, let's click on this and let's select the flow map. I'll use the flow map for the sand. And for the snow, of course, let's use the snow map. So let's just hit open here, and now let's hit import. And let's wait a bit, and there we go. And as you can see, we have the sand texture here, where the map show us to put in the flow parts of the landscape here. And of course, in the snow, we have the snow texture here. So as you can see, this is basically the same as we created in Gaea. So let me go back to the selection here. And there we go. This is basically how you can use maps to put the textures on the different parts in the landscape and still have the ability to use the layer system in Unreal, so you can create footsteps, for example. So this is basically how you can do this. And this is basically it for this tutorial. I just wanted to show you that you can create the maps in a procedural way in Gaea and use that maps to place the textures here in Unreal, so you can still have the ability to use the layer system in Unreal to create effects like, I don't know, maybe some dust on the footsteps and footstep sounds and things like this. So with this you have a procedural way of placing the textures, and you have the ability to know in what texture your character is, so you can just use this. So if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't lose any new content. And as always, thank you for watching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.